Welcome back. You're still watching Market Fatafat on ET. Now time to kickstart the show and talk about the stocks you need to keep on your radar in today's trading session. Joining us on the show from the research desk are Pranay and Varun, and from Angel Broking we have Amar Singh. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming on board. Let's kick off the show with the first stock on our radar. It's TCS. Pranay, it's clearly an earnings reaction that we're looking at as far as the counter is concerned. It's seen a fair amount of recovery intraday but still continues to be in the red.
Well, yes, fundamentally it's the second consecutive quarter of miss for them on growth and margins. And the management outlook for the rest of the year also indicates that the double-digit growth ambition is unlikely to be met since the second half is seasonally weaker. So there is very little probability that they'll be able to do better than the first half. So the stock had opened lower by about 3.5-4% and has since recovered from those levels. Also, you will see on the chart that in the last 6 weeks, the stock has already come off 15%, pricing in part of this weakness. So there has been some derating already. And today morning, you've seen the earnings reaction.
That's right, TCS down by 1.3%, but on the flip side, there's a counter which has actually given up its earlier morning gains, which is Vedanta, still higher by 1.5%. Amar, how are the technicals looking for this one? All right, let's connect with Amar in a bit because I think we don't have his audio yet. But let's talk about Cipla as well, a stock in focus. At the start of the show also, we got the management to talk about what transpired as far as Cipla is concerned and what will be the way forward for the company as well. They are saying they're in the midst of a de-risking operation. They're trying to limit their dependence to a single site. This they talked about in the backdrop of the Goa facility, for which they've received Form 483 with 12 observations running through 38 pages. They're responding to each of the observations in the Form 483 and they say that there is no impact from the 483. The stock continues to, however, languish in the red. It's down 1.4%. Moving on to another heavyweight that we're focusing on today is IndusInd Bank. Varun, the numbers came out yesterday. How is it faring today?
So the decline seems to be continuing today for IndusInd. The result was actually quite positive, I thought, given the rough climate for banks. NIMs were maintained, growth was pretty healthy, NPAs were contained, and stressed assets also saw some recovery. So all in all, a good result. But obviously, with the overall pressure seen in the banking sector, I think that slippages were a bit of a concern, as well as bad SMA2 data, which seems to be lingering today, still moving the stock downward. I think so. Now in the last 2 days, it's fallen around 8%, which is pretty significant. Around 8,000 crores of market cap has been lost during the same period.
And today it's testing the 1200 level. As we speak, the stock is down nearly 2.5% today as well, keeping up with the downtrend it's been witnessing for the last couple of sessions. But meanwhile, GM Breweries, Pranay, this is one of the first ones to deliver their Q2 report card. Tell us, how were the numbers this time?
Well, Karunya, the revenues were up about 8.5%, but operationally the numbers are not so good. EBITDA has declined by about 20%, so you can clearly see that the margins have come in at 20% versus 27% same quarter last year. That's due to the rise in raw material costs, and therefore the profits are up just a subdued 2%. So weak operational show over here.
Okay, the stock, however, is continuing to hold on to some early gains. It's still up by 1% despite a very muted show in the second quarter. Meanwhile, let's talk about Indiabulls Real Estate. The stock is looking very, very resilient in today's trading session. We earlier on were tracking some reports about the management as well, about Embassy as well, saying that they do not wish to hike any further stake in Indiabulls Real Estate. We spoke to the management. The MD of Embassy was right here with us on ET now earlier on. He said he'll continue to hold investment in Indiabulls. He sees good prospects and safety as an investment bet in Indiabulls Housing, where they continue to hold nearly 14% stake. The office space will be sold to Brookfield and Blackstone eventually, fed into a REIT to make the company debt-free, is what Embassy's management told ET now. Moving on, Amar is back with us. Amar, Hindalco from the metal SPAC, another heavyweight which is shining in today's session.
Yeah, I would say that if you look at most of the metal stocks, they are somewhat trying to form a double bottom, and Hindalco is also displaying bullish momentum. And now it is having a very strong base, support base around 180, 183 levels. Whereas on the upside, resistance is around 195, 196. So if it consistently sustains above 190 levels, then it could rally towards 195, 200 levels. So yes, definitely a bottom or a base seems to have been formed for the metal stocks.
Some good insights coming in from Hindalco, from Amar. Meanwhile, Bandhan Bank, Varun, it's really soaring away in today's session. What's the update with respect to its merger with Group?
Well, Karanya, it's actually cooled off quite a bit. It opened up almost 20% and grew, subsequently was up around 15%, which is now cooled off to 10%. Now, there's a couple reasons for this. Firstly, the record date for the merger has been set for the 17th of October. So that obviously involves a certain amount of inflows coming in this week. Also, the MCI inclusion, which will be happening later this week, will see flows to the tune of around $180 million coming into the counter by October 15th. So it's quite, closely held counter. In that sense, it's illiquid. So, no supply and tremendous buying, which is really what's driving the price upward. Also, specifically on Bandhan, there was a Bernstein upgrade which came in yesterday. So these are the three primary forces propelling the stock upward today.
Absolutely, yes. You rightly said the stock has cooled off a fair bit but continues to still trade with very significant amount of gains despite giving up the earlier highs in the session. Let's talk about another heavyweight from the metals pack. It's Tata Steel this time around, which is also looking quite robust. Pranay, what's the update there?
Well, though the numbers are not that strong, Karunya, if you look at their sales, then India sales are down about 4%. This is largely due to the monsoon and weak automotive demand. Also, South Asia sales are down about 6%. Europe sales have ticked up a subdued 1%. So net-net, you'd say that these numbers are on the softer side.
Numbers are on the softer side indeed, but the stock is actually moving otherwise. It's up almost 1.5% right now. Amar, let's talk about a stock from the energy pack as well, which continues to be in focus. Today we're talking about ONGC. How does the chart look to you?
I would say ONGC definitely seems to have bottomed out, and there's some very strong support for the stock around 120, 425 odd levels. So this is one stock one can definitely look on the charts. It's positive. So ONGC is a buy in the range of 126, 127. Ideally, one can look at buying with a stop loss of 123.5 and an upside target of 136 in the short term.
Okay, that's the word on ONGC. The stock continues to trade higher by 2%. Let's move right on to our next stock, which is Bharat Forge. It continues to be the cynosure of all eyes. The stock has also been quite weak through the session today so far. It's down 2% as we speak. They held an analyst day and they've cautioned off some headwinds in the near term. They said that the near-term outlook, given the cyclical slowdown in the entire CV space and the overall auto industry as well, is something that they have cautioned off the analysts about. CLSA came out with a note as well. They retain their sell rating. The target given by them is 385 rupees. They say EV components and lightweighting are among the key focal areas in the auto space. Defense remains a big opportunity for Bharat Forge, but auto business definitely is likely to witness some more weakness going forward. At least that's what the management seems to have flagged off for the near-term outlook. Moving on from Bharat Forge to another name from the financial space, it's Magma FinCorp, looking pretty resilient today. Amar, is this up move sustainable going ahead?
I would say that looking at the various time frames, be the long-term charts or the short-term charts, clearly shows that the stock is in a bearish trend. And it's been forming lower tops and lower bottoms on the daily chart. So, and also there's very low volume on the stock. So we'd recommend to avoid the counter. However, the stock has got good support around 43 levels, whereas resistance for the stock is seen around 49.50 levels.
Okay, let's talk about another name from the financial basket. It's Muthoot Finance. Varun, what's the update you're tracking?
Well, it's one of the better performing financials as far as gold loans are concerned. It tends to be the preferred pick when compared to its peer Manappuram. Now, it's recently been cleared for a $2 billion fundraise. The market cap currently is around 26,000 crores, so $2 billion coming in at 14,000 crores is huge. This will be done via a bond issue. It will either be overseas bonds or sovereign bonds. We don't know yet. We'll be tracking it closely to see what it eventually ends up with.
That's Muthoot Finance for you. It's down by about 1% odd in today's session. With that, we're going to wrap it up on this edition of Market Fatafat. Thank you so much, Pranay, Varun and Amar joining us on the show today. Thank you for our viewers for tuning in.